back to the continuation of the previous chapter. In the previous lesson, we have started with the new chapter, the Mauryan Empire. And in the previous lesson, we learned about the various sources to reconstruct the age of the Mauryans. The Mauryan Empire, which came into existence, known as the All-Indian Empire in the 4th century BC. The foundation of the Mauryan Empire was led by Chandragupta Maurya, and he ruled as an emperor until the age of 24. After he ruled for 24 years, he handed over his kingdom to his son Bindusara, and Chandragupta now lived a retired life. He adopted a life of an ascetic following Jainism and went down to South India and lived in a cave in a place called as Shravanabel Gola. Now today we will try to understand, or we will try to learn about the political history of the Mauryan Empire. How the Mauryan Empire began, who succeeded whom, and so on. So to understand that, first and foremost we need to know that in those days, Mauryan Empire, here the capital was Patliputra, Magadha. Okay? What you call Patliputra, Magadha, or Patna as of today. Now, Magadha those days was ruled by the Nanda kings. And one of the last ruler of the Nanda king was Dharananda. Nanda. And he was not liked by the people. He was not very much appreciated by the people because of his certain deeds and policies. Now, how it happens, why he is important here, we'll come to know. Now, we have learnt about in the sources, one of the important literary source was Artha Shastra, written by Chanakya, which is also known as Kautilya or Vishnu Gupta. Now, Chanakya was a Brahmin scholar, and he had visited what we call Patliputra. He had come all the way from Taxila, which is one of the most important university, ancient Indian university. So Chanakya had come all the way from Taxila to Patliputra. Okay? And when he had come to Patliputra, Chanakya was insulted by the Nanda ruler. Okay, Chanakya was insulted by the Nanda ruler. So all the way back home, Chanakya was insulted by the Nanda ruler, and on his way back home, he happens to meet young Chandragupta Maurya. So he sees lot of talents in Chandragupta Maurya. As a result, what happens? He starts training Chandragupta Maurya in the field of warfare and so on. And Chanakya helps Chandragupta Maurya in establishing the Mauryan Empire. After grooming, what happens is, first and foremost, Chandragupta Maurya starts conquering regions of Punjab because it was not very stable there. After conquering certain regions of Punjab and Sindh, he focuses his attention towards Magadha. And with the help of Chanakya, who later, as I told you in the previous class, becomes the Prime Minister, he defeats the last Nanda ruler, Dhanananda, and establishes the Mauryan Empire in Magadha. Okay? After conquering or after defeating Dhanananda, the last Nanda ruler, with the help of Chanakya, Chandragupta Maurya establishes the Mauryan Empire in India. Then he starts conquering one territory after the other. In the previous class, I told you, on the banks of river, or the sides of widths of river Indus, that was ruled, conquered by Alexander the Great. And on his return, this river Indus and its tributaries, so on his return, he had left whom? The governors. And one of the governors at that time was Seleucus. And Chandragupta Maurya had already conquered many of the regions. Now Seleucus wanted to reconquer those territories which were conquered by the Indian rulers and again make it as a Greek empire. So in that what happens? There is a fight or a battle between Chandragupta Maurya and Seleucus. The details of it is not available. Okay, it's quite uncertain. Okay, but what happens? There was a battle between, war between Chandragupta Maurya and Seleucus. Later on in the battle, what happens? Chandragupta Maurya defeats Seleucus. Okay, defeats on Seleucus. And Seleucus has to part with certain lands in the northwestern frontier of India. Some of the regions where what you call, like Herat, Kandahar, and Kabul. Now all this region today are in Afghanistan. These regions were under the Greeks, under the command or the rule of Seleucus. After the battle between Chandragupta Maurya and Seleucus, Seleucus has to part the lands of Herat, Kandahar and Kabul, and he gives it to Chandragupta Maurya. Okay? Now, after that what happens? After giving that, there is a treaty made between Chandragupta and Seleucus. Okay? And both of them become allies or friends. And Chandragupta gives Seleucus around 500 elephants. 500 elephants. Added to that, he gives his daughter Helen in marriage to Chandragupta. So that way they become friends. That way they become friends. Okay? Now, next one what happens? After that friendship, Seleucus sends Megasthenes. Seleucus sends Megasthenes. Who was Megasthenes? He was a Greek ambassador in the court of Chandragupta Maurya in Pataliputra. So, Seleucus sends Megasthenes as a Greek ambassador to the court of Chandragupta in Pataliputra. And Megasthenes stays in India for around 14 years. And he has written a book called as Indica, from where we get a lot of information about the Mauryan Empire. So this way, Chandragupta Maurya extended his empire. From here, all this region is conquered. Most of the regions are conquered, and there are certain kingdoms down in the south. Okay? And those are also under the Mauryan Empire. So finally, after ruling for 24 years, Chandragupta lives or gives his throne to his son Bindusara. The first one was Chandragupta, second one was Bindusara. Not much information is available about Bindusara. Maybe he continued, or maybe he might have extended his territories or looked after the kingdom or administered his kingdom like the way his father had done. So Bindusara becomes the Mauryan king or the Mauryan emperor from 300 to 273 BC. From 300 to 273 BC. I'm just telling it briefly because you just need to have a brief idea about the political history. But certain names are to be known, such as Chandragupta, Seleucus, Megasthenes, Magadha, Pataliputra, how, Chanakya helped Chandragupta Maurya to establish an empire in India. Okay? Then, after Bindusara, we have Ashoka, one of the greatest emperor of ancient India and a quite popular one, and he is quite important. Chandragupta Maurya was succeeded by his son Bindusara. Bindusara, who ruled the empire from 300 to 273 BC. 273 BC. Not much is known about Bindusara. Okay, we don't have so much information. Maybe he might have continued or extended his empire and followed the footsteps of his father. And now, the third most important emperor of the Mauryan Empire is Ashoka. Ashoka, who is also known as the Ashoka the Great, who was an emperor or succeeded Bindusara and ruled the Mauryan Empire from 273 BC to 232 BC. 232 BC. Ashoka as a person was a brave soldier or a brave person, okay, and he loved hunting, and most of his brothers disliked him. And when there was a riot in what you call Taxila, his brothers, okay, half brothers, told his father Bindusara to send Ashoka to far northwest part of it to suppress the revolt. And Ashoka goes there and suppresses the revolt. After Bindusara, he becomes the king and he becomes the great conqueror. He starts extending the territories. So by what they call Chandragupta Maurya, Bindusara had already extended the empire to a great extent. Only one place known as Kalinga in Orissa. Kalinga in Orissa had not been conquered by the Mauryas. Okay? And the people of Kalinga, the rulers of Kalinga, had been opposing the Mauryas. Finally, Ashoka in the year 261 in the year 261 BC, Ashoka attacks and captures Kalinga. Okay, captures Kalinga. And after the Kalinga War is said to be the turning point in the life of Ashoka. After the war, Ashoka happens to see lot of destruction. He happens to see lots of people being killed, maimed, and crippled. And he is not able to bear the suffering. As such, there is a turn of change of heart in Ashoka. Okay? Then what happens after that? He gives up fighting. He gives up fighting. He embraces Buddhism and makes Buddhism the state religion. That means wherever the Mauryas were there, Buddhism was taken and accepted as a religion of the people. Added to that, what happens? Ashoka comes up, he propagates a new religious idea known as Dhamma. Which is also known as the law of piety. Okay? Dhamma was nothing but was a moral order. Code of conduct. Moral order and a code of conduct. So after Kalinga War, there is a turning point in the life of Ashoka. He now starts preaching non-violence. He gives up the idea that we have to conquer the hearts of the people, not with war, but with love. So therefore, he gives up fighting. He gives up war. He denounces war, accepts Buddhism, practices non-violence. And this itself is one of the reasons for the downfall of the Mauryan Empire in India. Okay? After declaring what you call Buddhism as state religion, he now makes edicts, as the previous class I told you, the Ashokan edicts, the royal orders, okay? And he comes up with a new religious order. It was not a religion as such, it was known as Ashoka's Dhamma, with law of piety. In simple word, it is a moral order or a code of conduct, how a person is to live and what he or she has to do. So this way, after Ashoka, we have a downfall in the Mauryan Empire. The most important reason is because Ashoka accepted Buddhism, practiced non-violence. So if you are able to keep this much in mind, it is more than enough. Once again, to catch up, we are studying about the political history of the Mauryan Empire. Briefly, the Mauryan Empire was established by Chandragupta Maurya with the help of whom? Chanakya. Now, who was Chanakya? Chanakya or Vishnugupta or Kautilya was a learned Brahmin of Taxila. When he had come to Magadha at that time was ruled by the Nandas. And the last Nanda ruler was Dhana Nanda. When he had come to Patliputra, the Nanda ruler had insulted whom? Chanakya. And as a result, he has returned home. He was going back to Taxila. He happens to meet Chandragupta Maurya. He sees lots of talents in this young boy. So what he takes him, he starts teaching him, training him in the fields of warfare and so on. And with the help of Chanakya, he is able to conquer, Chandragupta Maurya is able to conquer some parts of Sindh, northwest part of India. Then he focuses towards Magadha, defeats Dhananda, and establishes the Mauryan Empire. So one by one, with the help of Chanakya, Chandragupta Maurya extends his empire to the north, west, east, and even the south. South Indian kingdoms also accepts the Mauryas as their sovereign leader. Then Chandragupta Maurya gives up his throne to his son Bindusara after ruling for 24 years as an emperor and lives a life of a Jain ascetic in South India known as Shravana Gola. Chandragupta Maurya is succeeded by whom? Bindusara. We do not have much information. Maybe he continued the footsteps of his father. Chandragupta, what you call Bindusara, is succeeded by Ashoka, which is popularly known as the Ashoka the Great. Okay? And most of the territories in India at that time had come under or had been what you call already won over, captured by whom? The Mauryas. Only one place was there, known as Kalinga in Orissa. Now, Ashoka in the year 261 BC, what you call attacks Kalinga and defeats the rulers, their opposition, and makes Kalinga as one of the it's made one of the states or region of the Mauryan Empire. Kalinga war brings a change in the life of Ashoka. So he gives up fighting, he accepts Buddhism, he practices non-violence, and declares Buddhism as the state religion. And he comes up with a new order known as Dhamma, the law of piety, or it's also known as moral order or code of conduct. This Dhamma will be seen separately in the next class, and after this we are going to learn about the Mauryan administration. How this vast kingdom, the vast empire was administered by the Mauryas. And we already have seen in the previous classes, Kautilya's Arthashastra as well as Megasthenes Indica tells about the administration of the Mauryas. So it is doing the administration in the next class along with Ashoka's Dhamma. So till then, please do go through the textbook, and if there are any doubts, you may please clear it or ask me in the group. Good day. Thank you.